All right, y'all, we back with another reaction right here on ABP Reactions. And right now, there are some new discoveries and updates in this Nolan Wells case, man. It is every day is something new, man. It don't stop. Crazy situation right here. Let's see what they got now. Let's go.
As investigators piece together what happened in connection with the death of Nolan Wells, you have his friends raising legal defense money, Nolan's mom reportedly being investigated for professional misconduct, the signs of potential litigation mounting. What exactly is going on right now? Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime and Jesse Weber. So there are some things happening with the Nolan Wells case that we should talk about. This is the death of the 18-year-old college football player, went missing after a July 4th boating trip at the barrier island off of Horn Island in Mississippi, reportedly didn't go back on the boat with his friends, goes missing, and his body is found 2 days later washed ashore. The family is demanding a thorough investigation. They are demanding answers. They have hired attorney Ben Crump to navigate this situation for them. They ordered an independent autopsy of Nolan's body, but the cause and manner of death were undetermined. From that examination, we do know, based on reporting, the official state medical examination has reportedly been completed, presumably with the toxicology report, but we don't know the results yet. It's part of a larger case file that will, by all accounts, be sent to a grand jury for potential filing of criminal charges. The results won't be released till then, and we have no timeline on when this grand jury process will happen. Is the family being shut out? Are they being silenced? Are they being intimidated? What are their legal rights for information? What are their legal rights against others? What are their legal rights to speak out, give their take on the evidence, the investigation? What about those who are claiming they are being victimized? And it is getting heated. It's been reported that right now 3 people have been criminally charged with making threats in connection with this case. And these suspects don't seem to know the family personally or to be involved in any way. But these alleged threats against a judge whose son was with Nolan that day, a witness, local officials, this is getting serious. This is taking on a life of its own. And now you're also seeing the prospect of litigation. You're seeing a legal defense fund being raised, which we're going to talk about. You're seeing Nolan's mom reportedly being hit with a professional complaint. There is a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to Ben Crump's role, Nolan's purported friends. The question becomes, is there a line? What is the line? Has anyone crossed the line? A lot of moving parts about this, so I want to talk about it. Okay, so this is where I bring in Rich Schoenstein, okay, litigator who knows the ins and outs of things like this. Rich, thank you so much for coming on. It's good to see you. There's a lot I want to talk to you about, but I got to start with this because this is like the latest breaking news, big news that came out. According to outlets such as WLBT, the Mississippi Board of Nursing has apparently launched this professional misconduct investigation against Nolan's mom.
Damn. Over what? That's fucked up, see, now y'all playing politics. Now y'all doing the politics shit. Nigga, she just want justice for her son. Now y'all finna start playing with her money. You know what I mean? Y'all, yeah, see. Now y'all playing, man. Like, what? Why I gotta go here? Why I gotta go this far, y'all? I just want justice for my son. And y'all over here, now you want to start playing with my bag? Damn.
Christine Wells Wonsley. And apparently there was an anonymous complaint. Well, Ben Crump, who I've mentioned represents the Wells family, said that this was, quote, a warning shot to essentially intimidate Christine Wonsley and keep her quiet about looking into what happened with her son. Highlights that she has never had a complaint before. He said, quote, attacking a grieving mother's career does not answer the question of what happened to Nolan. It tells us the question matters and the answer is scaring somebody.
Right. You're trying to intimidate her to not continue to work, like to find out what happened to her son. That's like all of a sudden, I have no complaints in my work history. I have not one complaint. All of a sudden, I'm trying to get answers for my son. Death. And now I'm getting complaints. You know what I mean? Listen, all this shit all it's doing is make y'all look more suspect, make this whole case look more suspect when y'all start doing shit like that. Like, what? This shit is crazy, y'all. When this shit all unravel, it's gonna be crazy. And man, if these motherfucking boys got something to do with this shit, I'm telling you, I don't know. Like, this buildup for this case is crazy.
We will keep asking questions and demanding the facts until Christine knows how her son died. I should note that Christine posted on Facebook that the Mississippi Board of Nursing has now closed this professional misconduct case, saying, quote, "Thank you to all of those who have constantly kept us in your prayers. This definitely has added more hurt to an already devastating time because I love my job and I love my patients." Now, Rich, reason I wanted to bring you on is there's a lot of civil components to this. There's a lot of ways that the legal system is being used here. And I think about this, whether the allegations in that anonymous complaint were true or not. It seems, it being dropped, probably weren't. But the timing of it is suspicious. Does Ben Crump have a point about this, about potentially weaponizing different legal systems in this search for the truth?
Well, I think you have to say that the timing is at least suspicious. If it's true that she's never had a complaint lodged against her throughout her career, and all of a sudden there's an investigation into the death of her son and there's public interest, and all of a sudden there's an anonymous complaint out of the blue, you would say at least that timing is suspicious,
right,
and that complaint needs to be scrutinized.
To me, it supports the argument. This is why the family got outside counsel. This is why they've moved forward with an independent investigation, because the idea would be that they are vulnerable. They are vulnerable to, I think the argument is that this could have been all swept up under the rug, that it was going to be a quick investigation, that, what happened to Nolan, tragic accident. But to get a lawyer and to bring a spotlight on this and to protect their rights, I'm still navigating, the role of an attorney like Ben Crump in all this, but I'm also not, I can't deny there is a value to that.
Imagine if they didn't have the spotlight. This case, for sure, like, just really look at what's going on. They already like playing funny ball with the spotlight on them. With the spotlight on, they're doing suspect ass shit. Now imagine if it wasn't no big known lawyer, no news coverage, none of this. Man, what? They wouldn't have got half the shit they probably got right now. This would have been an open and shut case. Nigga, they probably tell the family, get the fuck out of our face. Your son was over there. They found him. He was drunk. That's what it is. Move on. Deal with it. This is Mississippi we're talking about. You know what I mean? But even with all the spotlight on, they still over there playing funny ball, acting crazy, not letting them see shit, not keeping them in communication, not telling the mother nothing, not telling, like, now you're playing with a job, you got people calling in, doing crazy shit. Like, damn, I just want justice for my son. I just want to know what happened to my son. What's wrong with that?
Oh, absolutely. And I've represented victims, family victims of crimes before, and they need legal representation, especially in today's day and age when they're likely to be subject to attacks on social media or the internet, or someone's going to lodge in a complaint to the board of whatever, or they're going to have to consider if they have claims that they should bring on behalf of the estate or on behalf of the family, or more fundamentally to your point, they want someone, an advocate of their own, looking over the investigation or even conducting their own investigation. There are a lot of perfectly good reasons that the family of a victim should get legal assistance. I have no problem with that.
I've talked about this before. People are getting arrested for making threats. The family has talked about being harassed. The purported friends of Nolan claim that they're getting harassed, which I'm going to get into a little bit more. But have you seen anything like this before? There's one thing. It's an investigation to find out what happened to Nolan, and now you're seeing lawyers getting involved and people lawyering up and maybe mounting legal claims against each other because of the discourse out there, because of the dialogue, because of the theories, the rumors, the speculation, how loud it's getting. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yeah, I think we see. I think we see more and more of it. I will reference the Karen Reed case where there were, lots of attacks against people who presumably were simply witnesses, and all kinds of theories on the internet about what might have really happened. And at the end of the day, a lot of those people have had to lawyer up. But if you're a potential suspect, you ought to have a lawyer. If you're going to be asked to talk to the authorities and the authorities might view you as a potential suspect, you ought to have a lawyer. If you have some independent legal stake in the matter, you should have a lawyer. If you might be getting attacked and defamed out there in the world, you should consider legal representation. There are lots of good reasons. And I think we do see this in a lot of cases now.
And also, I think having a lawyer, if you are going to go public with your questions, if you're going to go public with combating narratives out there or questioning the evidence, how you say it, is something that's good to have a lawyer look through, which brings me to this point. Has the family done anything or said anything that could get them into legal trouble? Has Ben Crump said anything or done anything that could get him into legal trouble? I mean, look, they've been vocal. And for example, they have pushed back on accounts that Nolan would have stayed on Horn Island without his friends, which is something that has, been amplified by those who were with Nolan that day. They have made claims that information from Nolan's phone may have been tampered with, deleted. They have seemingly pushed back on the idea of whether Trayston Shepard, who has come out, claims he's a good friend, a really good friend of Nolan. He was interviewed by Brandon Tatum. On Cuomo, on News Nation, Chris had asked Elmore Wonsley, Nolan's father, if he knows Trayston, and said, no, I don't. Just because you park your vehicle in someone's yard doesn't mean that they have to know you. And then there was this. So it was reported.
All right, this is a question that just came to my head, right? Like, has anybody, I haven't seen it, but, we're not talking about like a 30-year-old man here. We were talking about a teenager, man. Like, we were talking about he was filthy drunk. Is there anybody that can confirm, like, Nolan drinks? When Nolan does drink, he gets drunk. Do they have a homie that can confirm? Because that could be a whole, like, what if he don't even drink? Like, who can, like, we're just going off what we're hearing. Like, they say, oh, Nolan was super drunk. All right, well, let's see. Who really knows Nolan over here from the black side? Because obviously the family didn't know the white side. The mama didn't know the white kids. The daddy didn't know the white kids. So obviously, y'all not over there hanging out with them. So who over here do Nolan hang out with when he over here? Like, hey, your cousins, your homies, your football, you know what I mean? Do Nolan be getting drunk? Do he be getting fucked up to the point where something like this would be like possible, where he would get left behind, like they're saying, from boats and try to swim back? Is that a characteristic, a trait of Nolan's? Can you ask his friends, can we confirm this? Because, nigga, to say that somebody is filthy drunk, then they're irresponsible and they get left behind with no cell phone, with no boats, and then on top of that, they try to swim back. Niggas would know, oh yeah, that's something he would do. That's right on point for him. You know what I mean? But that's really, think about that, cuz. Like, that's really like, at 18 years old, you saying he sloppy drunk out here, he getting left behind, he irresponsible as fuck, then he gonna try to swim back. You know what I mean? Because if the truth come out like, hey, yeah, all he does is drink, what's some little seltzers? Like, he was drinking a couple of seltzers, like, what? Y'all niggas is crazy.
We talked about this, that according to preliminary information from a document from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, witnesses reportedly told investigators that Nolan had been drinking heavily with friends that day before he went missing. This was reported by ABC News. Well, Christine, his mom, goes on the Don Lemon show and denies this, says, if you were in our situation, how would you feel if there were millions of people who were saying, oh, hey, well, he was at an island, he was heavily drunk. And I'm like, but was he though? Or is this a narrative that you guys want to use?
Right. Like, what if he don't even drink? That's something one of my homies could easily confirm. He is a drunk. Or, man, that nigga don't drink. He'll drink a White Claw. He'll drink a White Claw here and there. But to say he's heavily drunk at 18 years old and that's not something somebody just up and become one day. It's your first time drinking, you get sloppy drunk, then you get stranded, then you try to swim back. Like, That's a lot. That's really a lot when you think about it. Like, who the fuck you know is going to do that?
And she even apparently said that one of Nolan's football coaches told her that he saw Nolan that day between 2:45 p.m., 3:30 p.m. local time. Quote, he was like, Christine, yeah, we talked for a while. We talked about college. We talked about his life, his plans. And he was like, he was perfectly fine. Because I think it had bothered him, too, that there was this narrative of, oh, he was sloppy drunk. So what do you, big question, overall picture I have here, Rich, I just wanted to lay some of this out. As they're talking about this, as they're commenting on this, is there anything that gives you concern for the family or Ben Crump about what they're saying?
I haven't watched a lot of what Ben Crump has said. I know about it, and I know that he's drawn some criticism for some of his comments. So let me start with this premise.
So why the fuck you on here talking about this case if you're not paying attention to what the fuck his lawyer is saying? You know what I mean? So you a one-sided motherfucker. You only care about what they talking about on this side. You over there with Officer Tatum and them, huh? Because why the fuck you don't care what Ben Crump talking about? Whose side you on, brother?
From the point of view of the investigation, it would be preferable to me if the family wasn't making a lot of public comments. Because I think talking about evidence publicly can potentially interfere with an investigation. Investigators don't tell you everything they found every day during an investigation. They do it step by step. They do it methodically. They talk to witnesses. They look at forensics. They look at evidence. And ultimately, when they draw conclusions, they coordinate with law enforcement, and either something gets, charges are brought or they're not. But you're not entitled to an hour by hour update. And I know that we have loads of content creators that want to report this story and bring news about what really happened. And so Don Lemon's doing that, and Chris is doing that. To some extent, you're doing it. And there are a lot of other people doing it that have a legitimate interest in reporting what they find. So what I would say is and I understand that the family wants to combat public narratives it views as offensive. So if there's a public narrative, well, he must have been drunk on the island, and they believe that is not true, I totally understand why they would want to speak out against that. And I just think everybody should proceed with the same goal in mind. The goal is to determine how this young man died and figure out if anybody is responsible that needs to be charged for that.
No, my brother. I don't think you see how this shit works. You basically saying shut up and dribble, nigga. You want us to be quiet. You want niggas to sit back and be quiet while the Mississippi justice system does all the work. And don't interrupt what they're doing. Let them do their job. Well, motherfucker, they wouldn't have been doing their job if it wasn't for Ben Crump putting belt to ass every day on their motherfucking ass. Whether you look at Ben Crump as being right or being wrong, however you look at it, the fact that he's highlighting this motherfucker and he stepped up to be a part of this and put the spotlight on this family situation, and that they're not coming with to debunk this shit like, hey, look, it's facts. Here goes the facts. Here goes the autopsy. Here goes this. This is what happened. The fact that y'all over here playing and spoon feeding them and holding back information and holding back shit and don't want to tell the family, the mother, the father, y'all don't want to tell them shit. It lets us know that there is something there. There is something there. Now, you can't stop. This is 2026, brother. You can't stop content creators from making content. I think the content creators need to chill. That's not going to happen. Oh, no. My brother, go on TikTok. They're on there every day, all day, making conspiracy theories all day. You can't stop that, brother. But you right here, I don't even understand why the fuck you sitting here talking. Real shit. Once you said you ain't been keeping up with what Ben Crump got going and Nolan got going, why are you even here, man? Beat it. We don't give a fuck what you talking about.
And everything that's done ought to hopefully contribute or at least not detract from that goal.
So, look, you and I both know that there are people in the public online who are viewing this in multiple ways, and the family and Ben Crump have been getting criticism, and we've seen, the friends getting criticism. And there's something that I have to call out here that I thought was really interesting. So apparently Nolan's purported friends and their families have launched this legal defense fund on Give, Send, Go, currently raised at the time of this recording over $158,000. I'm going to read you a portion of what it says.
I think we should stand down from addressing them as Nolan's friends till further notice. Stop calling them Nolan's friends till further notice. Until we can confirm that they didn't kill this man, stop addressing them as Nolan's friends. It doesn't make sense. Like, you're trying to paint the narrative like they're still cool and all that. No. Nigga, hold on. Bitch, if you the friends, you supposed to be right here with my mama, nigga. You supposed to be right here with my mama and daddy standing next to us on that stage, nigga. Hey, nigga, that's my best friend. I'm right there with y'all. My best friend? I call you my brother since kindergarten and all that, and you get killed on my watch? On my watch you die? I'm going to be right there with y'all. What the fuck? You got killed on my watch? You went to my house, you left your car at my house, your keys at my house, your fucking phone on my boat. You're with my friends? Man, what? Hey, listen, man. Actions tell it all, brother.
It says, quote, "No friend should have to grieve the loss of a brother. But instead of being allowed to mourn, what followed was an unprecedented online campaign of accusations, harassment, threats, and defamation. Since Nolan's death, Warren Hudson, Jack Spatalo, Morgan Seymour, and many others have been inundated with death threats, threats of violence, and defamation. They have been falsely and wrongly blamed by individuals online and in the media of either directly or indirectly having a hand in Nolan's death. Most of them could not even attend their own best friend's funeral. Why? Because race baiters sent a deranged army after them online in the name of justice. Since the beginning of the investigation, these young men have cooperated with authorities, turned over all the information they had, and provided an overwhelming number of witnesses accounting for their whereabouts. Some of them even resorted to speaking up publicly to defend themselves against baseless allegations. But unfortunately, it has become clear that the truth doesn't matter." It goes on to say, "Lives have been turned upside down, and some have had to go into hiding. Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and the usual suspects of social media personalities, national news media, and local provocateurs continue to invent and spread false narratives and lies with no accountability. This is the typical tactic of Ben Crump and the like. They come to communities like the Gulf Coast under the guise of seeking justice. But it has become painfully clear that their version of justice is stirring division, ruining lives, and then leaving when the money is dried up. We have seen this same pattern time and time again, most recently during the Carmelo Anthony trial. No matter what anyone believes about an ongoing investigation, our legal system exists for a reason. Evidence belongs in the hands of law enforcement and the courts, and not in online mob campaigns fueled by rumors, edited clips, edited audio, speculation, or misinformation."
Listen, homie, don't bring up the Carmelo Anthony case to make it seem like, oh, justice was served over there and it's going to be served over here in the same way, and he was wrong. All the blacks was saying that Carmelo was justified, same way all the blacks are saying that the white guys did something to his friend here. Don't bring up the Carmelo case over here, man. You motherfuckers. Just work with the family. Is that too much to ask? Just work with the family. Jesus, y'all going about this shit. How the fuck you lawyer up the next day instead of working with the family and then finding out, oh shit, they ain't fucking with me? All right, for sure. I'm trying. I'm showing y'all, hey, what y'all need? Y'all want me to, come on, I'll put you on the boat. We could go over there. I'll show y'all exactly where he was at when I left him. This is my best friend talking to my mother. This is what you're supposed to do. If this is, hey, look, moms, check this out. I'll take you over there and show you where he was at. You could go over here and I could break it all down for you. Here's the phone right here. Boom, boom, boom. Like, hey, I want you to meet with the woo. They was with me. Like, work with the family, cuz. Like, it's your homie. This your day one. I don't know, man.
This must stop. This fund is created for the sole purpose of fighting these individuals. Our goal is simple and twofold. Our first goal is to raise money to defend these friends against incoming wrongful death actions filed by attorney Ben Crump and his team. Our second goal is to fund a robust legal team to sue for the litany of slander and libel being spread by not only Crump, but also many social media influencers, news outlets, and local provocateurs who know better. This is not about silencing legitimate discussion or respectful disagreement. People are free to ask questions and express opinions. This is about drawing a line against defamation, targeted harassment, threats of violence, doxing, intimidation, and coordinated campaigns that destroy lives before the facts are known. It goes on to say, your donation says that enough is enough. Your donation says that the time of exploiting a tragedy under the guise of justice and leaving a community in ruins after squeezing as much money out of it as possible is over. Nolan deserved dignity, not this. Rich, there's a lot to get into with this. I mean, we can start with the idea of a fund being set up with all that money coming in. We can start about what the goal is, what the line is. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts because you covered a lot of ground. You covered a lot of ground there, my friend. But let me start with the fund, okay? Because, again, this is something we're seeing now. You know, Luigi Mangione has raised $1.5 million in his legal defense fund, right?
Very, very different. Very, very different.
I understand, but I'm saying a lot of people, either defendants or victims or others, set up these funds. And one thing I want to encourage people is when they look at a fund like that, to try to scrutinize it and make sure you know where your money's going before you give it, because there's not a lot of control. Once you give $100 to some give, send, go, you don't have any control over what that money is really used for. So you want to really take a look at that fund and make sure
it don't matter. Listen, brother, if the mama is coming out and the daddy is coming out and saying and co-signing that this link right here is where y'all can send money, and if I want to give money from my heart based on this situation, what they got going, cool, boom. Hey, listen, man, y'all motherfuckers over here trying to debunk. Y'all motherfuckers, as soon as Chud the Builder go to jail, motherfuckers donate all this money. Y'all didn't make a big deal out of that. Motherfuckers want to fund Chud the Builder. You feel me? Now, the family, people sending in money to help Nolan Wells' family. Oh, now, yeah. They shouldn't be doing that. Oh, they shouldn't be doing that. Where's the money going to go? Man, shut the fuck up.
It's being used for things you want it to be used for. I find the idea that people would attack these other young men who were on this trip without knowing any facts, and I know that that's happened. I don't think that's right. I think they have a valid point there that they shouldn't be attacked. Nobody should assume there's a racial component to this unless there's evidence to support that. And the fact that there are people of different races is not enough fact to support that there's a racial component, right? So I don't want to see that jump to conclusion.
All right, I will say this. Listen, we done watched a lot of these reactions, right? A lot of these videos on this Nolan Wells case, and it hasn't been necessarily race. It's simply what happened on that boat. That's it. Yeah, we addressed that he was the black kid with all the white kids. Yeah, but we hasn't said like, oh, they tried to hang him because he was black. They wanted to drown him because he was black. Because it's not that. It's simply what happened on that boat. And y'all saying he was never on the boat. What happened on that boat? That's all we asking, bro. What happened? We know he was on the boat. Shut the fuck up. Because we know niggas. And niggas is not staying and getting stranded behind on an island, let alone swimming back. That's what we not doing. So we know he was on a boat. Was it that boat or which boat? That's what we need to know. Which boat was it? Because he was on a boat. You think he getting left behind? How stupid is what?
I don't like a lot of speculation about who must have done what, or this must have happened, or it had to be this way, because you don't know. Now, you mentioned that the other guys who were on the boat have been cooperating with authorities. That's what I understand. That's what I've heard, that they have been answering questions posed to them by authorities. I haven't heard anything about people not cooperating or refusing to answer questions, and that's a good sign. They should be credited for that. And of course, it should be investigated, because even if they are cooperating, it doesn't mean that somebody didn't do something wrong, and we have to try to get to the truth.
All right, man. We off you, brother. We off you because I see what's going on here with this motherfucker, man. We off you. We not listening to this nigga talk no more. This nigga so one-sided, bro. He's so one-sided. Nigga, you gave it away when you said you ain't been keeping up with what Ben Crump and them got going, man. You ain't even care about Nolan's side. And you just over here yeah, man. Get up out of here, man. Bring somebody on that's really keeping up with everything that's going on with this case, man. That was a waste of fucking time, man. God damn it. Hey, law and crime, man. Don't bring him back on, man. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. Nolan Wells, man. We're going to continue to cover this as long as they put out coverage, man. React to it. Sometimes it may be decent. Sometimes it may be bullshit like this. But we are going to react to it, man, and keep y'all updated with what's going on with that until we get some closure along with the family. You know what I mean? Rest in peace. Condolences to the family, all that good stuff, man. Let me know what y'all think is going on. What is really happening with this case, in your opinion, man? As days go by and it just seem like more and more they're trying to hide things, strip things from the public of knowing, not letting us get access. Do y'all think there's something that, funny business going on, man? What really happened to Nolan Wells, man? Let me know what y'all think. I'll give you 2 seconds to smash a like. And as always, get ready for the next reaction.